The Random Jottings of Donald J. from Nelson in Pendle. Soul Eaters. In England in the 15th to 19th centuries we are soul eaters. They was men and women who ate the sins of people who have died. They would put the dead body out into a field. Put the body on a table. Put salt into a dish in the body. And a small loaf of bread. The soul eater dipped the bread into the salt and ate the bread. So eating the dead person's sins and so-called soul would be free. In the rolling hills of rural England, where whispers of the supernatural danced in the wind and shadows held secrets untold, there existed a peculiar group known as the Soul Eaters. From the 15th to the 19th century, they walked amongst the living, their purpose shrouded in mystique and fear. These individuals were neither saints nor demons but held a power beyond mortal comprehension. They were the ones tasked with consuming the sins of the departed, a duty passed down through generations, veiled in ancient rituals and whispered legends. When death claimed a soul, the soul eaters emerged from the shadows, their presence heralded by the hushed murmurs of the villagers. They would gather the deceased and carry them to a secluded field, where a weathered table stood, marked by time and tradition. Upon this table, the body would be laid, a vessel for the sins that burdened the departed. With solemn reverence, the soul eaters would begin their sacred rite. They would place a dish of salt beside the corpse, symbolizing purity and preservation, and a small loaf of bread, a conduit for the transference of sins. With practiced hands, the soul eater would tear a piece of bread and dip it into the salt, the grains clinging to its surface like grains of truth. In the silence of the night, they would consume the bread, each bite a communion with the darkness that lingered within the soul of the departed. As they ate, they would feel the weight of the sins, heavy and burdensome, passing from the deceased to themselves. It was a solemn pact, an exchange of darkness for light, of suffering for redemption. And when the last crumb had been consumed, the soul eaters would stand amidst the quiet of the field, their spirits heavy with the weight of absolution. For they knew that in consuming the sins of the departed, they had freed another soul from the shackles of its past. But theirs was a lonely path, for they walked in shadows and dwelled in the spaces between worlds. Misunderstood by many, feared by some, they continued their ancient duty, for they knew that even in darkness, there existed the promise of dawn. And so, the soul eaters faded into the annals of history, their deeds remembered only in whispers and half-forgotten tales. But their legacy endured, a testament to the enduring power of redemption and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of darkness. By Donald J.